In previous video, we have seen that changing property of a layer changes property of all the objects which are on that particular layer. Now here we have some objects, circle, text and some lines. Now these are placed on different layers. So this line object has been placed on line layer and circle on circle and text on text. So when you click on this layer properties manager, you'll see that some properties like color for circle and a line type for line layer and transparency for text has been applied. So these are some of the properties which are later inherited by these objects. So you can clearly see that circle is red, text is green, and line type here is ISO dash, which is this ISO dash line type. Now we'll attempt to change the properties of these objects individually without changing properties of these layers. Now let's move on first to the circle. Let's select the circle. To change the property of this object, you need to go to this property palette or property panel. Now here you have this color option in this drop down. Go to this drop down and select some other color, in this case yellow. Now the color has been changed to yellow, but still object is on circle layer with color red as the layer color. So we learned that when you change the property of an object, your change will always be preferred over the properties assigned in layer. In a similar way, if you change a line type of this object from ISO dash to something else, here's the line type in this drop down. Let's change it to something else. So let's load and let's select center line this time. So here we have the center line. Click OK and OK again. Now let's select it, and from this drop down select this center line. So as soon as you'll do this, you'll see that the property is now changed, and although on this scale you won't be able to see the change, but when you zoom in you'll see that now the line is center line instead of simple ISO dash. But still the object is on line layer which has ISO dash as its line property. In a similar way, you can change properties like a transparency from this transparency option and other properties like line weight as well. Now let's move on to some generic properties here. Here on the first instance, what we see that this line is not clearly visible, although we have selected a line type for this, but on this scale it's not visible. So we need to change a bit more of its property. For that, select this line, right click anywhere in the blank area and go to properties. So this will take you to the property palette. Now this property palette has most of the properties which are related to the polyline which we have selected. So it starts with color, layer, line type, and there are plenty more options. So we are interested in changing the scale, and here is the line type scale. When you hold your cursor here, you'll see line type scale in the tooltip. You can also expand this panel if it is not clear to you, and you'll see that this is the line type scale. Currently the line type scale has been set to 1. Now let's change this line type scale to, let's say, 3 and press enter. So now when you press escape, you'll be able to see it more clearly, but we need to increase this scale even more. So select it again and this time change it to 10. And now let's close it. So here we have the changed line type scale and it's clearly visible. Now let's move on to some other properties. In this case, let's select the circle. This central circle has some properties and we are going to change that. For that, right click, go to properties. Now move this downwards, and in this geometry option you'll see plenty of options like coordinate for X, Y, Z, off center, radius, diameter, circumference and area. So here we have these properties which we can directly change. So now you can clearly see that radius of this circle is 0.2879 units. So when you change property of this circle from here, it will be applied to this circle on screen as well. So let's change this property and change it to 0.5. So you are changing this radius, press enter. You'll see that now circle becomes bigger, and along with that all the other properties like diameter, circumference and area also changes. You can also make changes to circumference and area, and radius and diameter will be changed. So let's go and change the circumference. So we are interested in changing the circumference and we'll change it to 2 units only. So 2 and press enter, and here we have this circle. So you can use this property palette to change many other properties of all these objects, and this property panel will be specific to the object which we have selected. Right now in this case this circle is selected, so it's showing only the properties related to this circle. Let's press escape, and here we have no selection. Now let's go on and select this text. So when you select this text, all these properties are now related to the M text or multi-line text which we have selected.